Think back to the last thing you really wanted. The one you were sure would change how you felt. Maybe you got it. And maybe, if you're honest, there was a strange, quiet flatness a few days later. The feeling didn't come, or it came and left almost at once, and somewhere just ahead a new thing had already appeared, wearing the same promise. That flatness is trying to tell you something. Not that you want too much. Something far more useful than that. It's telling you that you've been running a kind of race that was never designed to be won. And that there's another way to spend the exact same energy. One that leaves you, at the end of an ordinary week, with something actually in your hands. Stay with me, because the difference between those two ways of living is subtle enough that most people never notice they've chosen the wrong one. And it changes everything about how the years add up. Let me say first that if this is you, you are almost certainly not shallow, or greedy, or ungrateful. Quite the opposite. You're driven. You care. You've spent years pushing hard towards things you believed mattered. Nobody ever sat you down and explained that there are two completely different kinds of effort that look identical from the outside. And that one of them, no matter how fast you run, quietly leaves you with nothing. Because here's the thing we're rarely told. Chasing and building both look like ambition. Both involve effort, focus, long hours, sacrifice. From the outside, you can't tell them apart, but underneath, they are opposites. And the reason chasing leaves that flatness, no matter what you catch, is hidden in how it actually works. Let me show you with something you may have seen. Picture a greyhound track. The dogs are lean, powerful, built entirely for the chase. And when the gate springs open, they run flat out, every muscle straining, after a small mechanical hare that races along the rail ahead of them. And here is the quiet cruelty of the whole thing. The hare is engineered never to be caught. It's always just ahead, always the same distance away. No matter how fast the dogs run, they pour everything into the pursuit, and they cross the line having caught precisely nothing, because there was never anything there to catch. That is chasing, not ambition itself, but a specific, exhausting mechanism, pouring your whole self towards something that is built to stay just out of reach. The promotion that turns out to be the bottom rung of a taller ladder. The number that was going to be enough, until you reached it and it wasn't. The approval that goes quiet again the moment you stop performing. You run, and the hare stays exactly where it was. The oldest book of wisdom I know names this with startling honesty. There's a man in the book of Ecclesiastes who had more than almost anyone in history: wealth, knowledge, pleasure, power, projects on a scale we can barely imagine. He chased every good thing a person can chase, and he was clever enough to actually notice what he found. And the phrase he uses, again and again, is that it was all like chasing after the wind. Think about that image for a moment. Not chasing a thief you might catch, or a prize you might win, chasing the wind. You can run at it with everything you have, close your hands around it, and open them to find nothing. He had caught the whole world, and his hands were empty. So if that's chasing, what on earth is building? And why does it feel so different? Here's the clearest way I've found to see it. Imagine two people who both spend an hour a day, breathless, working hard. The first is on a treadmill. She runs and runs. The sweat is real, the effort is real. And at the end of the hour she is precisely where she started. All that motion, and the ground beneath her never changed. The second is climbing an ordinary staircase. He goes slower. It's less dramatic. But every single step he takes stays underneath him. He doesn't have to keep running to hold his height. He can stop and look down and see that he is genuinely, permanently higher than when he began. That's the whole difference. Chasing is the treadmill. Enormous effort, constant motion, no ground gained, and the moment you stop you slide straight back. Building is the staircase, often slower, often quieter, but every step holds. You are not renting your progress by the hour, you own it. And this is why two people can work equally hard for 10 years, and one arrives with a life, and the other arrives simply exhausted, having run a very long way to the same spot. Which raises a question worth sitting with. How would you actually know, day to day, which one you're doing? Because they feel so similar in the moment, both busy, both tiring, both full of purpose. The tell is not how hard you're working, it's what remains when you stop. And that brings us to something deeper, because chasing and building don't just differ in what they leave behind. They differ in how they make you feel about yourself every single day. The chaser lives by a scoreboard. And the trouble with a scoreboard is that it only ever tells you the gap, how far you still are from the number, the goal, the person ahead of you. So no matter how much you achieve, the scoreboard keeps you permanently behind, permanently not yet enough, because the target keeps moving with you, like the hare. You could win all week and still go to bed feeling like you lost. So the builder learns to keep something different. Not a scoreboard, but a record, a quiet ledger of what's actually been made. And the ledger has one beautiful property the scoreboard never will. It only adds. Every honest thing you build, however small, goes into it and stays. A skill you got a little better at. A relationship you tended. A promise you kept. A piece of work done properly when no one was checking. None of it is impressive on the day. But it accumulates, and it cannot be taken. And it means that even on a hard evening, look back and see that the total is quietly, steadily going up. The chaser measures against a target that flees. The builder measures against yesterday. Only one of those is a race you can actually win. Now, if part of you is nodding, I suspect part of you is also quietly worried. Because if you've been a chaser for years, the fear is that stopping means giving up. Going soft. Losing the drive that got you this far. And I want to be careful here, because this is where people misunderstand the whole thing. Stopping the chase is not about wanting less. It's not about killing your ambition and settling for a small, grey life. The energy is not the problem. The energy is good. The problem is only ever the direction it's pointed. You don't cure chasing by caring less. You cure it by taking that same fierce drive and aiming it at things that actually hold. Things that go into the ledger instead of vanishing into the wind. The very intensity that wore you out chasing, and as the intensity that, redirected, built something remarkable. You don't need to become a smaller person. You need to become a person who pours themselves into what stays. And what does stay? This is where I think faith says something the world is only beginning to catch up to. Almost everything you can chase is, by its nature, temporary. It can be lost, taken, outbid, forgotten, or simply cease to satisfy. But there is a short list of things that don't work that way. The person you become, the character you quietly forge, the people you actually loved, and who were loved by you, the faithful work you did that outlives the applause. And there's a striking passage where the Apostle Paul puts that very idea into a single, sobering picture. Each of us is building something with our lives, and one day the work will be tested, as if by fire, and only what was real will remain. The things we chased will go up like straw. The things we built with care will still be standing in the light. It's a sobering picture, but it's also a freeing one, because it tells you exactly where to put your one wild and precious supply of energy. Not into the wind, into what fire can't touch. So let's make this ordinary and doable, because a beautiful idea that changes nothing by Tuesday is just another hare to chase. Here is the shift, in practice, today. Do one thing that builds rather than chases, and the test is simple. Will anything remain from it tomorrow? Chasing tends to look like acquiring, comparing, refreshing, starting the next thing before you've finished the last. Building looks like finishing something, making something, tending something. It might be completing the small task you keep abandoning for a more exciting one. It might be an hour given, properly, to a person rather than a screen. It might be practicing the thing you're trying to get good at, badly, for 10 minutes, so that tomorrow you're genuinely a fraction better, and not just a day older. None of it will feel like winning, building rarely does, on the day. But you will have added one true step to the staircase, and it will still be there in the morning. And notice something, when you do, notice that a strange quiet comes with it. The chaser is never at rest, because the hare never stops moving, but the builder can pause at the end of the day and simply look at what's there, and feel, perhaps for the first time in a long while, that the effort actually went somewhere. That is not laziness, that is the deep, earned peace of a person who has stopped running at the wind and started laying something down that will hold their weight. So let me leave you with an image to carry out of here. Picture the greyhound, mid-race, suddenly stopping. The hare rushes on ahead, round the bend, and away, and for the first time the dog simply stands still, chest heaving, and realizes the thing it was chasing was never real. And then picture yourself, at the end of an ordinary day, not breathless, not behind, but standing on a step that wasn't there this morning. One you made, one that will still be under your feet tomorrow, and the day after, and the year after that. The wind has dropped, your hands, for once, are not empty. You don't have to overturn your whole life to begin. You just have to lay one honest step tonight. Finish the thing, make the thing, tend the thing, keep the small promise, and let it stay. Stop running at the wind, just for today, and build something the fire can't take. There's more to say about this, about what happens to your sense of time itself once you stop chasing, and why the builder's years feel so much fuller than the chaser's, even when far less appears to happen. That's where we'll go next. For now, though, I'd leave you with just this. You were never going to catch the hare, but you were always able to build the stairs. And the first step can be laid tonight, built quietly, kept faithfully.